1079 CDY, Cadillac's hit music station. We're going to take a break from the music here for about a half hour and talk about interesting things going on in our community because it's show number 3 of Cadillac Unscripted. I am Rich Spicer, and Katy Huckle is with me. This enterprise is brought to you on 1079 CDY by Remax Central, Marianne Quist, by Independent Bank, and by Baker College of Cadillac. And Katy, I'm going to let you take the lead on this one.
All right. Thank you, Rich. Good morning. We have such a treat for our listeners today. We've got Boatright in the studio with us, and it's a new year, and it's the R word, the resolution. We've all been talking about 2020 and making commitments to self-betterment and improvement, and I wanted to have Bo on the show to talk to us and to our listeners about how to jumpstart work-life balance, health, and exercise and fitness. And so Bo agreed to come on the show, and he's got an incredible background as an athlete, and now he shares that gift as a pretty advanced trainer in the Cadillac area. So welcome, Bo.
Thank you.
So I sent you some questions, and I think one of the things we should talk to folks about is it's overwhelming. Let's say somebody eats a lot of fast food and they're struggling with their weight, and they don't have an exercise regimen, and they're just overwhelmed about where to start. What advice would you give those folks?
Well, the advice I would give them would be, keep it simple.
Okay.
Keep it simple. Start off with small baby steps, I like to call it.
Okay.
And be kind and gentle to yourself. Because the biggest thing in our society now is, like you had just pointed out, is we have so much stress going on, right?
Yes.
With work related, and then everybody's got to work to pay the bills. You got kids, you're running around, and then the last thing you think about is you, right?
It's
because
true.
You're trying to take care of everybody else. So when I first start working with somebody, the first thing I do is I sit down and I want to find out what their dream or their goal is.
Okay.
And that way, basically, if you have a defined dream or goal that's bigger than the current chaos or challenge that you're facing, then you're going to have the stick-to-itiveness to stick with it, and that will help you overcome all the excuses that we try to give ourselves.
Don't we, Rich? We know about excuses.
Yes.
So if somebody said to you, I don't get enough sleep, I need to lose weight, I don't exercise enough, what's the first thing that you would tackle?
The first thing I would tackle is I'd have some assessments that I do with them.
Okay.
And this would give me a baseline of their health.
I see.
Basically, I have a system that uses red, green, and yellow. And we all know what those mean, right?
We do.
Red means stop and better check out what I'm doing. These are red flags, and something's not working for you. Okay. And our body will give us those red flags.
Okay.
With fatigue, with injury,
yes,
with any kind of dis-ease in the body.
Okay.
Those are all just red flags that our body's trying to tell us that something that we're doing is not working for us.
Okay.
I mean, would you drive your car around with the blinking red engine light on?
No.
How long it's going to last before it breaks down? So that being said, I take the people through a series of assessments. I find out whether they're green, which is I can push them to their full potential in or exercise, nutrition, and lifestyle program. Or if it's yellow, I have to be a little more cautious with that person. And if they're red, then I use something called working in with the person instead of working out.
Oh, I love it. Okay. Because working out kind of has a stigma too, doesn't it?
Yeah, working out is just another form of stress.
Okay.
So, when you have your daily life of meeting your financial needs, your relationship stress, all of those different things, they all add up. And the body doesn't differentiate forms of stress. It all goes into the same cup. And if it overflows, then that's when disease starts to come in. And those are the red flags that I'm talking about. And most people, they often will not pay attention to those or they'll drug them. And then rears its ugly head later on down the road.
Oh, wow. It can lead to that and manifest itself.
Yes.
So you've got a new venture, and I want to tell everybody about this. It's called Two Forces Integrated Training Center, located at 720 North Mitchell. It's a new business for you. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, it's a new business. It's basically going to be a small group personal training type venture. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be an 1,800 square foot. We bought all brand new equipment for it, and I just can't wait to get in there and start helping people.
When will you open?
We are supposed to open February 3rd.
Okay. And for folks to reach you or folks to contact you for training and that, how would they?
Yeah, I can give you my number. I can give you my website. They can either sign up. If they go to my website, they can get 2 free consultations.
Excellent.
And they come in and check it out and see if it's a good fit, if the personalities match, if they like what I'm talking about, and then we can go from there.
Excellent. So when we look at diet and exercise, some folks will say 80% is what you put in your mouth.
Yes.
And 20% is the exercise piece. Do you agree with those ratios?
I mean, that's a good starting point, but from my personal experience and education, I use 4 things. I use, number 1 is Dr. Happy.
Oh,
because if you're not
yes.
happy, why does it make sense? Or you're not going to be joyful or be motivated to eat proper foods, to get proper sleep, to hydrate well, and to surround yourself with like-minded individuals who are going to help lift you up to draw you towards your dreams or goals.
Wow.
So I take what I call the 4-doctor approach and try to find, basically, it's not my job to fix people. It's my job to give them the tools to help them heal themselves, because nobody can fix anybody else. I've tried it in the past, and it does not work. It backfires on me.
It's got to come from within.
Yes, for sure.
So those of us that are racing around all the time, it's very easy to grab a candy bar.
It is.
It's very easy to grab a Diet Coke. What are simple foods that we should have around us that are good fuel?
Yeah. We have some basic foundation principles that we should follow. There's a lot of different diets out there, different fads or different ways that people eat. And I don't think that any of them are wrong.
I see.
I just think that maybe each person as an individual should fine-tune their own diet plan, because as you know, we're all unique, yeah?
Yes.
So different things react differently for different people. Some people will do well on a vegetarian diet. Some people will do well on maybe a keto or a meat carnivore type of diet. And then you get the people in between. So basically, I tell people, eat organic, whole foods, and try to eat seasonally, and try to rotate your foods on a weekly basis. That way you get more nutrients at the cellular level.
Wow. Okay. Now these folks that food prep, and I almost think it's the younger generation, Bo, some millennials and such.
Yeah.
If you talk to them, their Sundays, they're food prepping.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea, especially with how busy we are in society today. But at the same point, when you're doing that food prepping, I would always make sure that you're using glass containers instead of plastic. Make sure that you are using whole foods. I prefer organic. And then make sure that you're rotating your proteins, fats, and carbohydrates in that meal prep as well. That way your body's very smart. It adapts quickly. So if you don't keep changing it up, and as your body changes, you will have different needs.
I see.
So you just have to listen to it. Have you ever noticed you have cravings sometimes for certain foods?
Chocolate.
Yeah, dark chocolate's great.
Okay. Not milk. Okay. I want white chocolate, Bo. I don't get to have, okay.
You can every now and then. It's not about being rigid.
Okay.
It's about being committed to your dreams and goals that you have set forth for yourself.
I see.
It's okay to reward yourself or have a treat every now and then. It's just as long as it doesn't turn into addiction or turns into something that's going to distract you from reaching your dreams or goals.
So people talk about having a cheat day.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's having a cheat hour, or maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think, using that word cheat or having a cheat day, that's what I used to do. I used to follow, if I eat perfectly, Monday through Saturday, then Sunday I eat whatever I want, right? And that wasn't bad. That worked for me when I was younger, but now that I'm older, I have to be a little bit more conscientious about what I'm consuming. Yes. Not only physically, but mentally, emotionally as well.
Okay. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about your journey, where you came from? I studied you up a little bit before.
I'm a farm boy from Kansas.
Okay.
I went to a town of 500 people. I was a pretty standout athlete there. I was lucky. Got a scholarship to a junior college. I excelled there. Got a Division I scholarship.
This is football.
To play football, yes. I was a tight end. And then I went on and was on the practice squad with the Cowboys for a year. And then I got hurt. I got cut. And then I went and played arena ball for 2 years. And then after that, I got into the fitness industry. And I've been doing that ever since.
Arena ball was where?
That was in Wichita, Kansas.
Okay, so who do you cheer for today?
I'm a Washington Redskins fan.
All right.
I know they're not very good, but
Tough time to be a Redskins fan right now. But
it is. It definitely is.
Yes. So another question would be, it's so hard when you first start the exercise regimen because you're so tired because your other responsibilities don't go away. So you've added something. When can you anticipate heightened energy or a change in, when can you reap the benefits of your commitment?
Well, that depends on the person, like that system I told you about, the red light, green light,
Yes.
yellow. That depends on where the person is at. Usually when I have somebody, the first couple things I tell them, like the baby steps, start off drinking good quality water,
Okay.
half your body weight in ounces daily, and then try to get at least, between 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night.
Right.
And eventually, if you're doing that and you're getting Dr. Quiet, Dr. Happy, Dr. Movement, and Dr. Diet in, and you learn how to balance all those 4 things in your life, you will start to see little things like you'll have a little more energy throughout the day. You won't be as tired. You'll be a little more emotionally stable. And when you get that, then you're able to make better choices with all of those other things.
So Bo gets up in the morning. What does he have for breakfast?
Bo usually gets up in the morning and has eggs with avocado. I rotate in some steel-cut oats with cinnamon and different kinds of fruit. And then that's usually my breakfast. But I don't typically eat traditional breakfast foods.
I see.
I will sometimes, because I'm busy, I will cook dinner the night before. Like say I have chicken breasts with some broccolini and some sweet potatoes. I will eat that for breakfast.
I see. What's broccolini?
Not quite sure. I think it's kind of like a mix of broccoli or baby broccoli. I'm not positive.
I know what you're talking about. It's kind of long and
it's
stocky.
longer stem and stocky.
It's more tender.
Yes.
Yes, delicious.
Yes.
The number one reason people fail. See, that's the thing. People don't want to set resolutions because they feel like they're setting themselves up and then letting themselves down. And what's the reward in that? And then again, like you said, doctor, feel bad about yourself.
Yes.
So when you're working with somebody, let's say they leave. Let's say they start canceling appointments or they kind of fall off the grid. What's the number one reason?
Well, the number one reason is they didn't have a dream big enough.
Okay.
They sell themselves short, and then they let fear creep in.
I
Fear is
understand.
just false emotions appearing real. You can't listen to fear, and it's okay to fail. You're going to fall off the horse.
I see.
It's all right. You have to be compassionate and empathetic and loving towards yourself when you're making these choices, because nobody's perfect. Everybody struggles. You just do the best you can do at the time, and then when you know better, you do better.
Okay, knowledge. So you talked about 7 to 9 hours of sleep, and we all know about opioids, and we all know about over-medicating and pills being the answer to pain and different things. What advice do you give folks that are struggling with sleep patterns?
Well, I would want to look at their diet.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I do a 10-day diet log, and I want to see what they're consuming, because a lot of people, they are good if they eat a heavy meal of protein and fat before they go to bed. That'll help them sleep, and some people can't do that. And then other people do well with carbohydrates before they go to bed. So you have to figure out what type of foods work best for you. That way it doesn't spike your insulin while you're sleeping, and that's what wakes you up. Like if you ever had alcohol and you wake up in the middle of the night, that's because of the sugar content.
Oh, I understand. Okay, very good. What about working out? And what time is best to work out? What's ideal?
That, again, I mean, there's a lot of different studies that say working out in the morning, mid-morning is the best time, especially for men with testosterone. That's the peak of, I usually try to follow, if you look at like the circadian cycle.
Yes.
When you wake up first thing in the morning, you should wake up nice and slow, kind of ease into it. And then as you get to midday, that's when you're going to be at your best. Usually I'd say between like maybe 10 and 2.
I see.
But, a lot of people can't work out at that time. So they have to work out whenever it's convenient for them. So it doesn't, science says a lot of different things, but really what matters is making the time to do it for yourself.
I see. For somebody that hasn't worked out at all, they weren't an athlete, but they know they need to implement exercise into their lives, where would you start?
I would start telling them to take slow walks in nature. Get outside more. We've lost connection with where we should be. We are inside all day with computers and lights, and it throws off our body systems. We are made to We haven't evolved really past the stage of being outside and connecting with Mother Nature.
Okay.
We need to get more sunlight, especially here in northern Michigan.
Yes.
But
And fresh air.
and fresh air, yes, and just being outside, interacting with nature and walking, and then maybe doing some kind of bicycling or maybe some swimming, and then maybe some stretching. I always talk about stretching and finding out where you're tight and where you're loose, and then from that standpoint you can start to add different types of strength training or body weight training in. But you want to make sure that you want to work with somebody who's doing assessments, like a postural assessment or a core assessment, so that you know where you're starting with. You know where your starting point.
I see.
If you don't know where you're starting, then you're just guessing, right?
Right.
And that's a recipe for injury.
Assessment's important.
Yes.
So you see these commercials for Peloton, or
Yeah.
you see these folks propping
Yeah.
a piece of exercise, maybe a treadmill
Yeah.
in front of the TV. Are you telling me that's a no-no?
No, those are just different modalities. They're
Okay.
different tools. I wouldn't say that any different tool is better than another. It depends on what that person needs and what their goals are.
Okay.
So if somebody is an endurance athlete riding a bicycle, that's great, right? If you're a strength athlete, you probably don't want to do that as much. You probably want to spend more time doing Olympic style lifting or do strength training, right? If you're a sprinter, you want to spend more time on the track or working on fast twitch muscle fiber type workouts. It just depends on whatever your goal is. That's how your program should be designed for your specific goals.
Thank you. As we age, you hear conversations about what types of exercises are better for you and that you should be cross-training, and that, maybe after a certain age you shouldn't be running all of those miles. And what would you tell people post 40? What advice would you give folks?
I would tell them to remember that do the best they can with what they're working with, and not to think about what they used to be able to do, because often that will cause a lot of depression or anxiety or a lot of self-esteem issues, right? They're like,
Yes.
well, I can't do what I used to do. That's okay. You're not supposed to do what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
You're supposed to do what you can to help you and help you age in this process. It's a natural thing. Father Time's undefeated, but we can age gracefully if we're able to exist with our own aging process.
That is wonderful. I'm for sure going to play that bit for one of my girlfriends. Every time we run a road race, it's got to be this time. And I keep saying, Cheryl, we're almost 50.
Yes.
What are we talking about? I mean, this is what we ran when we were in our 30s.
Yes.
So I'm going to share that because that was good stuff right there. So, can you talk a little bit about the vision of your new venture here?
Yes.
And kind of the goal of it. It's customized.
Mm-hmm. Well, my purpose, I believe, is, I use health and fitness and well-being as an avenue to connect with people. And I feel that is one of the most important things that I could do, or that anybody could do with anyone else, is to be there and connect with that person, listen to them, give them sound advice to help them reach their goals, and just care. I honestly believe that that's why I'm here, is to connect with humans and get us back to connecting with one another, because there's such there's a movement going across the country where everybody's just fighting against each other, right? There's all this division.
Yes.
We're all brothers and sisters.
Yes.
We've got to bring this thing together and work together.
Excellent. No, that that was the premise for this show. Rich and I decided it's got to be good vibes. It's got to be,
Yes.
let's make people feel good or give them tools to help them
Yes.
feel better. Gaming.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about we
Yeah.
need to connect. What would you say? And Bo, it's not just the teenage that are gaming.
No, it's everybody.
What would you tell us about that?
We live in the age of information. We have all this technology, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, right?
I see.
But it should be a tool that we use in balance in conjunction with everything else that we're doing in our life.
See.
We
Moderation.
should- yes. Yeah, we should have, we should spend some time with this stuff, and gaming, that's fine. It's fun. Some people enjoy it. But at the same point, you cannot not be outside with Mother Nature, reconnecting, and then doing those type of things. Because if not, then we just get totally disconnected. And that causes all kinds of health issues.
I see. Now, for folks that want a workout buddy,
Mm-hmm.
I've always looked at that like, well, what if their schedule isn't the same as mine, or what?
Yeah.
You mentioned excuses.
Mm-hmm.
Is your recommendation to do this on your own?
No, I would. If you do it on your own, I would definitely speak with someone who is a qualified health professional, who has some kind of education in this field, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I see a lot of people I see a lot of people coming to me with injuries.
Oh, boy.
Because they used to do what they were doing in high school, especially a lot of guys, right? They'll think that they should go right into strength training, right? They haven't done anything for 30 years, and then they start back up again, and they think they should be bench pressing 400 pounds, right? And they tear a pec or injure their rotator cuff, and they don't understand why this is happening, right?
I see.
Well, it's because the body, you've been deconditioned. You have to take your time to build yourself back up.
So we don't say somebody got out of shape. We say they got deconditioned.
Yeah.
You've got the nicest words, doesn't he, Rich?
Deconditioned. I'm going to put that one in the dictionary.
Absolutely. He's so nice, you see. Why wouldn't you go see Bo? I want to mention to the listeners one more time, because I just wish you so much luck with your new venture here. It's called Two Forces Integrated Training Center, located at 720 North Mitchell. You can get on Bo's website if you're interested and give him a buzz and come and talk to him and see, like you said, do the personalities mesh to help you reach your goal in 2020. Anything else you want to share with the group?
I'd just like to close by saying I wish everybody a happy new year and good vibes to everybody. And in this new year, let's reconnect with each other and let's get this stuff done that we need to do.
Awesome.
Dig deep.
Thank you so much, Bo Boatright, everybody, and support his business at Two Forces Integrated Training Center.
Buying a home is still the great American dream. And yes, it can be an intimidating process. But you can rest assured and have confidence when the professionals from RE/MAX Central are in your corner to guide you through it. Mary Ann Quist of RE/MAX Central has helped hundreds of home buyers in and around the Cadillac area navigate the process over the years, and she's ready to help you too. From start to finish, from finding a home to submitting an offer, to understanding the purchase agreement, to inspections, surveys, and appraisals, to the time when you finally sit down and sign those closing documents, Mary Ann will be there. When you're ready to buy, talk to Mary Ann Quist at RE/MAX Central. See her listings at teamquist.com.
The world needs more. It needs people who respect each other, who look out for each other, who make decisions that help communities, help families, and help others build better futures for everyone. It needs people to be more, to step up and do the right thing. I'm Kelly Smith, president of Baker College Cadillac. Baker has been building better futures for over 100 years. Go to baker.edu to learn how you can take steps to be more.
1079 CDY, part 2 of show 3. It's Cadillac Unscripted, and we're glad to have you here. Katy, Huckle with me, and we want to thank our sponsors before we get to guest number 2. We thank Baker College of Cadillac for their support, as well as RE/MAX Central, Mary Ann Quist, and Independent Bank. And Katy, who do we have for part 2 of our show today?
Today we've got Dr. Brian Heeringa with us. Brian is a surgeon and he owns Northern Michigan Vein Specialists. He has offices in Cadillac and in Traverse City. Brian is a dear friend and he's passionate about fitness and health. And so as we, launch into 2020 here, so many of us have resolutions and we've made commitments to make ourselves better, more balanced. And so I asked Brian if he would share some of his perspectives, both personally and medically, about how we can all be more healthy in 2020. So Dr. Heeringa, I'll let you share some of your thoughts with us. I sent you a list of questions, but I think we can start with, for somebody who's overwhelmed by their current situation, they're just not healthy, and they know it, and they're committed to work on it. Where do they start?
So it often is very overwhelming for patients, and I for people in general, and they do feel like it's overwhelming. Don't look like, oh my God, I got to lose 100 pounds. I tell these people, you didn't get overweight in one day. You're not going to lose it in one day. I think, it starts by making small, simple choices every day. This is where consistency really plays in. You'll have your days where you slide back and have, eat your ice cream or drink your Coke or whatever, but, it's not what you do now and then, it's what you do every day that really matters. So, I look at small changes. What's one thing I can do with this meal that's better than it was yesterday? What can I do to change this one snack that's better than it was yesterday?
Excellent. It's about moving forward and making progress. Can you tell us, if someone was going to do something today, just one thing, what should it be to improve their health? What's something that they could implement right now to make their lives better?
Number one would probably be get rid of liquid calories.
Oh, boy. Okay, so we're talking about beer and wine and soda pop.
Yeah, especially the soda pop. I really think soda pop, Coke, Pepsi, whatever you want to call it, I think that's our generation cigarettes. We look back in the 1950s and, everybody back then smoked. You see that nurses will tell me, like, oh, I remember when doctors and nurses would smoke on the floors in the hospital, and that just sounds crazy to us. But I really think 50 years from now, our kids are going to look back and say, can you believe they used to serve Coke and Pepsi and Mountain Dew in the hospital?
Oh, my goodness. I have never thought of it that way. I think you're spot on. Right. I mean, what we know about and the dental impacts, too. I mean,
Right. I mean, dental health is part of your general health. I mean, I think it's a good insight onto what's going on everywhere else.
Right. Absolutely. For folks that aren't exercising currently, they know they should be exercising. Where do they start?
Again, small steps. Don't try to get the closest spot in the parking lot. You see that you go to the gym and everybody's clustered, with the parking spots that are closest to the door.
It's so true. Yeah.
But, honestly, as I get older in life, I'm a bigger and bigger fan of coaching. I self-taught myself a lot of things when I was younger, and I go back now and, like, for example, last year I went skiing in Colorado, and I, for the first time, took a downhill ski lesson, and I unlearned bad habits and learned a lot more in that hour than I did the years of self-taught downhill skiing.
Excellent. Wow.
So I think, rather than spend that money on Coke or your sugary lattes, a couple bucks a day, hire an online personal trainer or somebody to motivate you and point you in the right direction.
I see. So in the Heeringa home, I mean, you've got so much going on with the kids and your practices. And how do you juggle nutrition? What does that look like?
Most everything I eat is homemade. We don't go and get a lot of store-bought meals or store-bought food, prepackaged meals. So, and I think a lot of it is planning ahead. I mean, sometimes I won't decide what I'm having for dinner that day, but, as far as for, like, lunches, for me, it's easy to eat a healthy breakfast and a healthy dinner because I'm cooking those, but at work it's not. So, for example, my son's birthday last week, I let him choose what they want for their meal. He wanted grilled salmon. We grilled salmon, but while I had the grill going, I grilled up a bunch of chicken breasts and, threw those in the freezer, and then I'll grab those and take those with me to work every day.
Sounds like you're very mindful, almost an awareness when you're cooking about, okay, how can we leverage this effort? Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you try to put things together to save time. So I'll do a lot of cooking on the weekends. I'll make, my typical breakfast is either homemade granola or I'll do overnight oats, where I'll take old-fashioned rolled oats and a scoop of protein powder and an apple and some walnuts and some milk and throw it in the fridge overnight, and it's ready to eat by the morning.
I see. How are you fitting exercise in, Dr. Heeringa?
So again, I heard somebody say I can't remember the quote, but basically plan your priorities rather than just doing whatever's on your schedule, fitting in whatever you have. So it's become a habit. So some people will recommend do your exercise in the morning before stuff gets in the way. I'm not a morning person. I prefer the night. So usually everybody else goes to bed and I go down and I'll lift weights or get on the fluid trainer on my bike or go for a run.
I see. So what you're saying is take control. Don't let your life happen to you. Make a plan and stick to it. What's the number one reason people fail when they start an initiative like this? What throws them off?
I think they set these really big goals. It's probably different for everybody, but I think a lot of people probably set a really big goal and then they have a little setback and they get discouraged. And again, they lose that consistency. I mean, I don't know the statistics, but an overwhelming number of people who make New Year's resolutions have already given up on them.
It's true. I know you're somebody who holds yourself accountable to times. You're a distance runner, and you like to be fast. As we try to age gracefully, and we talked with Bo about this earlier, he said, you're not going to be what you used to be. And he said men in particular, want to be at that same performance level as they were maybe when they were in high school or college. And can you speak to that? Because I know that's a challenge for you personally.
All right, well, I guess I have the advantage that I was not athletic in high school. But, I think there's something to be said for that. You want a personal best. You want to do better than you did the year before. And it definitely gets harder each year. Back when, 20 years ago, you signed up for a 5K, you didn't need to train. You could just go out and run it. And even if you were out of shape, you could suck it up for 5K. And that's part of the reason why I started running the marathons, because I couldn't phone it in for a marathon.
That's so true.
Right. If you miss your long run for more than 1 week in a row, you're going to be hurting come race day. Whereas if you miss a workout here and there for a 5K, it's not a big deal.
I see. I know you talked about soda and wasted calories and, like you said, liquid calories. What is the biggest health crisis and issue as it relates to diet and exercise and balance facing people today?
I think in America our biggest health crisis is obesity. And again, that relates back to the soda and liquid calories and the processed foods and, so many diseases. We all know about heart disease and diabetes, but, you talk to my friends that are orthopedic surgeons and, they're doing knee replacements on younger and younger people and, acid reflux and varicose veins and so many problems come from obesity.
So that's a hard conversation because you're not a psychologist. So you've got somebody in front of you. Everybody knows what the issue is. How do you broach something like that?
I don't know. I'm probably not the most tactful person, but, you call it like it is. You're overweight. This problem's not going to get fixed until you do. And there's been times when I've turned people down for surgery because their risk being obese is too high. And, if you lose this weight, some of these problems might go away. We might not have to do surgery.
Or it might be an incentive, yeah.
And, they now classify obesity as a disease. So, maybe it's not the patient's fault, but it's still their responsibility.
Oh, wow. You just said a mouthful. It is. We've got to hold ourselves accountable to our own health. And you've given us some great tools. Again, Dr. Brian Heeringa with Northern Michigan Vein Specialist on the show this morning. Any parting thoughts for health, happiness, and fitness in 2020, Dr. Heeringa?
I would just say keep at it. It's not, like I said, the idea is simple, but it's not easy. It just takes hard work and consistency. For me, that involves signing up for an event and letting everybody know. That way I can't back out. You get that forced accountability.
I love it.
And, find friends and family that will support you. I'm lucky that I have, a wife and two young, healthy kids, and my kids are both active, and that motivates me. I want to be around for them for a long time. So, and the other thing is just I like to practice what I preach. We've heard about the doctors from the 50s that were obese and smoking, telling their patients to exercise and lose weight, and I don't want to be that guy.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Dr. Heeringa. You're a busy guy, and you shared some great thoughts with us, and we got a little smarter this morning, so thank you so much.
My pleasure, Katy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Happy New Year.